There's still a few coming in, so we just wait for them to take their seats and then we can continue. Okay, I think everyone is in. Once again, welcome to the second part. I'm not going to waste any time. So we will straight go over to Delphina. Delphina, welcome once again to the second part. And there she's going to talk to us about transformation. Let's welcome her, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mervyn. Hold on, glasses. Apologies for that. I'd rather not have to. I suppose it's going to take a while if I try to read. So, we're going to talk about transformation. Saint Augustine said, "Hope has two beautiful daughters, anger and courage. Anger at the way things are, and courage to see to it that they don't stay the way they are." Now, you might be angry at the way things are in your community or even in your life. I want to ask you today, do you have the courage and the determination to do something to change that? This is transformation. So you might be wondering, well, how does transformation happen? Transformation begins with you. It begins inside of you. Before you can transform your community, you've got to be transformed. So it requires a change. We want to make changes in our lives that will make us better, make us stronger. And I've found that the most powerful, positive change happens when we embrace good values. You know, you've always got to, if you want to go to something, you've got to leave something behind. We want to leave behind bad habits and come across to good habits. We want to leave behind a wrong way of thinking, weak values, and move to stronger values. And the moment you begin to make those changes, soos 'n pannekoek. It has a foundation, but it's just a very weak foundation. If the foundation, but eventually the house is going to fall. So good values decisions that we make that hold a family together. It's responsible. And the biggest thing about our values is one day when we are gone, those values are left behind for our children and the people who we love the most. It's the thing that we leave behind. They remember us for our values. I want to talk a bit about some values that people hold today. People value acceptance. They want to be accepted. They value comfort. I just want to relax. Comfort. They value control. Controlling other people. They want to control circumstances. They value being entertained. There's a lot of entertainment in the world today, not a shortage of it. People place high value on that. They value entitlement. Life owes them. They're entitled. They feel entitled to receive anything that they want. Fees must fall. Everything must fall. If everything falls, there's nothing left standing. They value experiences. They want to have nice things happen to them in their life. They want to go and do fun things. They want to express themselves. You know, on social media, everyone wants to express themselves. Everyone has an opinion. People want to give their opinion about things, and they also want to give their opinion about other people's opinions. Value freedom and happiness. You know, freedom actually doesn't come from doing what you want to do. People see it that way.
1, 2, 3, 4.
From doing what you should do. Those things that I've just mentioned, none of them are bad. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be accepted. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have freedom and happiness. A lot of those values are not bad values to have. Thank you. But the problem arises when we place the value of our lives on them. If you just think about it, all those that I've mentioned now, they're on the outside of us. It's things that we can receive. But the problem with when we place an emphasis and a high value on these things for our lives is that they don't make a very good foundation. The values are our foundation. And if we put all our focus on these external things, when the trouble comes, when difficulty comes, they're not going to keep us standing. They will not give us stability. And why do I say that? It's because fear is going to drive us with every decision we make, because we're going to worry. I'm going to lose my freedom. I'm going to lose my entitlement. I'm going to lose the control. I'm going to lose. We're always going to feel like we are losing something, and then fear is going to make the decisions that we need to make. Now I want to talk about some other values, some good, solid values, like a good attitude, courage. Remember courage? Hope has 2 beautiful daughters. Taking responsibility, commitment to continue and to finish what we start. Integrity. Let our yes be yes and our no be no. Let the life that we live line up with the words that we say. Things like humility. In this case, I mean humility by when not feeling like we are better than other people. Because remember, all men are created equal. Or let's say all people, men and women, are created equal. How about hope and thankfulness? Being thankful for what we do have. And this is a very big one, kindness. The world is starving for kindness.
perseverance, teamwork, self-control, not controlling other people, self-control. Personal growth, that's important. If we want to reach our dreams and reach success, we need to be growing every day. And this is my favorite one, making a difference in the lives of others. Making a difference, living outside of ourselves. Now think about these values that I've mentioned. Have you noticed? They're on the inside. These go with us wherever we go. And when we value the things on the inside and we base our lives on those, they will serve us in tough times. Their inner values are the things that will keep us strong and stable when we have tough times. It's that inward strength that's going to help us to see transformation in our own lives as well as the lives of our of people in our community. So my question today is, what do you value? You see, when it comes to transformation, this journey of transformation is not for everybody. Because the truth is, not everybody wants transformation. Not everyone really cares. But I can tell you today that it is for anyone who wants to learn and live good values, anyone who will value other people, anyone who's willing to work together with others so that we can see positive change in Versanterkraal. It takes cooperation. It takes teamwork. It's not going to work if it's just waiting for someone to do something. We've got to work together, take hands together. We all need to play our part. Because the real truth is that change doesn't just happen automatically. It starts with a desire. There must be a desire in your heart for change. And as we begin to embrace the good values that I spoke about now, those kind of values, we begin to get so big on the inside that eventually we put action to this desire. The short version of that is growing. That's how growth happens. Growth and transformation go hand in hand. Your and my personal growth and transformation in our lives, as well as transformation in our community, they go hand in hand. Growing people are people of action. I want to do a quick quiz. 5 frogs on a log. 4 decide to jump off. How many are left? You can shout the answer. Did anyone say 5? No one. Oh, I had a book to give away. 4 decide to jump off. They decided. They didn't jump. There's still 5 on the log until they actually jump. I must pick someone to give this book to now. So can you see that action is the separator? Many people decide, but not many people actually follow through. Action separates the doers from the do-nots. You know, the person who's going to do something, that's the action guy. The person who's still deciding, they end up doing nothing. Action separates the haves from the have-nots. Is there anything in your life that you'd like to have? There's some things that you don't have. We've all got things. But until I do something, I'm just going to be wanting, and I'm never going to get it. There's a lot of things that we would like to have, but action is what's going to get us to that. At some point, we need to move. Action separates the winners from the whiners. You do not want to be a whiner. Remember those dream killers? They're normally the whiners. Never anything good to say. If nothing is going wrong, they'll complain about the weather. There's always something wrong. They always criticize. They can't see the good in things. They always see the negative, the whiners. You cannot be a winner and a whiner at the same time. The whiners are so busy whining, they never do anything so they can become winners. And the winners are too busy getting things done so they can win. They don't have time to whine. So if it's too hard to stop whining, just put some tape there. Rather, don't say anything. But you want to be a winner. Nobody doesn't want to be a winner. We all want to win. But we can't win and whine at the same time. Action, at the end of the day, is going to separate successful people from unsuccessful people. Everyone's journey is different. It doesn't happen quickly for anybody, but the path is not always the same. But if we want to go from where we are today to achieving any level of success, action is required. You have to sanitize the mic in case I got COVID. Okay, you never know. So let's talk a bit about success. Success, if you go to the library, there's a library here next door. They've got all these shelves with books on. And at the end of the shelf, there's a little metal thing like a T on the one side of the books and on the other side. And they hold the books up. It's called a bookend. If success is the books, do you want to know what those bookends are? The bookends of success? It's quite simple. It's not complicated. The bookends of success are starting and finishing. Because in life there are many starters, but not many finishers. And we've got to start with, where do you think we start? We start with ourselves. That's the starting place of success. I start with me. As I said earlier, we've been given the awesome privilege of, remember what it was? Choice. If we choose to grow today, we move from taking whatever we get to being able to one day be able to choose what we want. There are many organizations in Versantekral that come to Versantekral and help, giving whatever we have, whether it's skills, food, clothing. A lot of things are coming, a lot of practical things. We want to help. But if someone gives you something, you've just got to take whatever they give you, right? You don't get to choose. But one day, that's not a bad place to start. But you don't want to finish there. You want to one day get to the place where you get to choose the things that you can have. And that's the action, which is the separator, to move from taking whatever I get in life to being able to choose the things that I want. And if we choose what we should do today, one day we'll also get to choose what we would like to do. That swear word is coming up to me again, discipline. Doing what we should do, even when we don't feel like doing it. You see, here's the thing with community transformation. If someone comes into a community for transformation, anyone who comes into, let's say, Versantekral to help, we're responsible to come to help, actually. Everyone who's got any privilege is supposed to try to help and share that knowledge and how to get there with those who don't have. So there's a responsibility to come to the people to help them. And there's organizations, businesses, they've come in with housing, skills, food, education, training, sport. There's lots happening. And we are all responsible, us who come in, we're responsible to bring that help. But we're not responsible for you. There's a part that you play. And the change that you want to see needs to come from you in the end. The change that I want to see in my life has to come from me. The change that you want to see in your life must come from you. If you want to see a change, you must be the change. Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see. You see, here's the thing. We have all been filled with unlimited potential. Unlimited. Every one of us sitting here, and inside, outside, everywhere. Every human being. Think about this. We are made in God's image. The creator of the universe made us like him. If that's not unlimited, then I don't know what is. So we've got all this capacity inside of us. Now you might be thinking, well, if it's unlimited, how do I reach my potential? I want to reach my potential, but if it's unlimited, well, how do you reach something that's unlimited? Let me explain to you how it works. Let's say I'm over here and I have a goal. I want to be over there. I grow, I change, I make the changes, I keep going, and I get there. I'm here. Potential. But when I get here, I see, there's more. I want to get there now. I grow. I'm going out of the camera. Let me walk this way. I grow. I get there. There's more. I grow. Eventually, I get there. There's more. Unlimited potential means I reach the place where I recognize that there is always more. You don't really get to the end of unlimited potential. It's a mindset of there's always more. That is what we call reaching your potential. And in order to get there, we got to grow. Remember I said grow. So how do we grow? I'm glad you asked. We got to live on purpose. Remember John Maxwell, uphill? Meaning we've got to put the effort in. We've got to live on purpose, intentional. Because the growth is not going to just happen all by itself. When we grow on purpose, we begin to see transformation. Growing the inner man. We first see it happen in our own lives, then in our homes, and then it overflows to our community. It is possible. Doesn't matter how long things have been going bad. The time to turn that around is yesterday. You could have started. We got to start. Why waste time on something that is a long journey? It's a process. Every day that we leave it, we're pushing it back another day. So in order for me to grow, I've got to ask myself two questions. What am I doing to grow myself? Doing. There must be an action. We can't just be saying, I'm growing. Time goes by. Well, a day went by, so I was growing. I must do something actively to make myself better, to improve as a person. And the next question is, what am I doing to help others to grow? It's really very simple. If I live in a house and there's a few children and I start growing, I must share it with those children. Imagine if they could learn what I'm learning now at this age. It will give them a head start. It'll help them. So we must always be sharing what we know with others somewhere along the line, because that's the overflow that we should be giving to others. Remember, it's not just about me. It's got to go outside of me. And the importance of doing things is because in the world there are a lot of gaps. There's gaps of all kinds of things. But there's also a very big gap between the knowing and the doing. We know what we should do. Everybody, to a large degree, we know most of what we should be doing. But we're not always doing it. And I really believe that everyone's got a gap of some sort, because we're not perfect. life happens, and we don't always practice everything that we know because it's just too much. The more you know, the more there is to practice. But what we want to do is we want to close the gap from knowing and doing as much as we can. Because most people really want to change their circumstances, they want their lives to turn around, but they don't always want to put the effort to growing in character. And we need to be willing to say, there's a lot of room for me because I'm unlimited, so I need to be looking at ways that I can grow and get better. If I don't do that, you know what's going to happen? I know all this stuff, but I'm not actually doing it. I'm going to get stuck in a rut. And I'm going to be going round in circles. I want to tell you today about a few things that you don't need if you want to be transformed. What you don't need. You don't need a fancy education. Now, I'm not against education. I believe we should all have education. So the high school girls there, the kids and the guy, remember, finish school, study what you need to study. It's important to study what is necessary for where you want to go. But you don't have to wait for your certificate to start growing. You don't have to wait. You can start now. Just think about this. If I decide I'm going to be kinder to people than what I was yesterday, I'm going to decide to be a kinder person. I don't need a certificate or an education for that. I don't need any money. I don't need anything for that. It's just a decision. And that's growing. Growing is, okay, I'm not really doing that the way I should be doing it. Let me change the way I do things. That is how we grow and get better. That's transformation. Right there, that is transformation beginning to happen. You don't need a whole lot of money. Because like I just gave the example, if I choose to be a kinder person or to be more thankful, I'm growing, but that's not going to cost me anything. Now, of course, some decisions, money will help to pay for things, but you don't have to wait for that. There's something you can do today. You don't need to know people in high places like the president or the CEO. Of course, that will help you on your journey to success and to transformation. People can help you, but you don't have to wait for them. Start today. You don't need to be a born leader or a born successful person or a born anything. We came naked into this world, and naked we will leave one day. So everything that you need, you can learn. No one is born successful. If you're born into a family that has a level of success, it will help you. But I've seen people born into privilege and waste it all. I've seen people born with very little, in families with very little, and they made a huge success of their lives. That tells me that it's not about what you are born, any privilege that you're born with. Because you can maximize what you have, or you can, anyone, if they do the wrong thing, they can throw it all away. So all you need is two things. Desire to grow, that's in the heart, that's a choice. And courage to do something about it, that's the action. A choice and an action. That is a choice and then a skill that anyone can learn. And you also need good influences in your life. We grow personally on the inside by choices, and we need people influencing us on the outside to help us and guide us. An influencer shows us the way. An influencer acts as a guide. So, quick question. Who is influencing you? And how? Someone could be influencing you and it's going. You don't want people like that in your life. And the next question is, who are you influencing and how? Because here's the thing. We are influencing people all the time. We don't realize how much we influence people. Everybody influences someone. If I walk down the street and someone looks at me and sees my behavior, and they hear me speak, and they feel me touch them, I'm influencing them. how I behave, what I say, and how I touch. So the minute you are around or someone else sees you, you're busy influencing them. And the best investment you can make in yourself is to grow yourself and to have good influences in your life. And the best time to start is now. So now I want to ask the motive question. Why do you want transformation, both in your life and in the lives of others? Some people do things for reward. They want their name up. Oh, they want people to say, you're so fantastic, you've done these great things. You are our savior. Thank you so much. They want recognition. So they go to do something because someone's going to give them a pat on the back. Maybe there's a reward, financial reward. I'll pay you. Did you notice it's a selfish motive? It's all about me. But then you get other people. And they want transformation because they say, I feel responsible. They feel the responsibility to do something about what they see. Did you notice that is an outward focused? It's not about me. That kind of person doesn't care if they become known. They just want to see that the people are being transformed. That's the right motive to have, and we always need to check our motive. And in order for transformation to happen in Versantekral, we have to become a people of action, who are outward focused, growing people, and people who are wise in choosing their influences. People of action, outward focused, growing, and wise in choosing their influences. So let's talk a bit now about the process of transformation. How does it happen? John Maxwell is a big advocate of transformation, and he has a 4-phase kind of process. It starts when each of us says, I want to make a difference. The desire is birthed in our hearts. And that moves to phase 2, where we say, I want to make that difference with other people who are making a difference. Because all of us is better than one of us, right? So we partner with people. And then it's phase 3, where we make this difference with these people, but we live out the values that will make a difference. Because if the values are not producing positive change, then we're not going to achieve a good result. And then phase 4, taking action. All those great ideas we have to have action put to them. People always say that time changes things. They wait for things to change. But that's not actually true. We need to produce the change. We need to do something for the change to happen. All that time does is it reveals what's already there. And if we wait and we wait and we wait and nothing changes, time reveals that we need to do something different. I would now like to tell a story of transformation that really happened. The title of the story is A Right Wrong Turn. It's the story of Rob Hoskins. Rob Hoskins is the leader of an organization that is worldwide, and it's called One Hope. You can Google it and you'll find it. And they help children around the world. They feed them, they educate them. There are a global network of people that are, they serve children in underprivileged areas. So Rob Hoskins was driving to his office one day in Pompano Beach, Florida. Not Florida here in the Vrystaat. Florida in the United States, other side of the world. Just a few blocks away into the area where he had stopped. But this day, he felt the need to turn to the right and not go the normal way. So Rob went down the road. He traveled onto a road that he had never traveled before. It took him into a small community called Avondale. Not Avondale in Parow. Avondale. I think they copied us with all their names. So he drove in about 2 blocks, not very far into the community. And this is what he saw. He saw a drug deal go down. He saw some prostitutes getting customers. He saw some gang members holding a court with little schoolboys who were supposed to be in school. And he saw some drunk mothers sitting on the lawn, watching the children, but they were clearly drunk. If those kids ran into the road, they wouldn't have even seen. And this was all in the middle of the day. Imagine what the night looks like. Rob said, I felt angry. I was angry at the condition of my community. Right across the street from my work were people suffering, trapped in their circumstances. I felt the pain of those fathers, unable to provide for their children. I was angry at the waste of human potential. Angry because I knew that these children were trapped in a societal prison of poverty, abuse, and neglect, and it wasn't their fault. But I was also angry at myself. Angry that I did not see what was happening right in front of me. I was helping kids around the world, but I failed to see that hopelessness lived next door to me. Sorry. Rob pulled to the side of the road and he cried. He said, now I left my tissues behind. Oh, now I took off my glasses. He said, tears were flowing down my cheeks, but from deep in my heart, courage began to rise out of my anger. I began to see possibilities and lasting changes that could come to my neighbors in Avondale. Thank you. I put mascara on. I better not cry too much. We're going to be running now. So Rob was determined to do something. Phase 1. Then he got to work. He spoke to his team about what he saw in Avondale. Phase 2. They did some research. They got to work. They got involved with some other organizations with the same values that they had. Phase 3. They converted some of their office space into a school and a private academy for the families of Avondale and the surrounding communities. And they started after-school reading programs for the kids because the kids were not able to read. They also helped the adults with English classes because Avondale was a community with many immigrants. They hosted health trade fairs. They taught interviewing skills to people who were looking for jobs. They helped to feed the families who had needs. And they provided mentors to help the people to grow. Phase 4. Now, I've told you that story in a few minutes. But it didn't happen in a few minutes. It took years for Avondale to be transformed. That's why I always say, we got to start now. We can't wait. Now I want to give you some of the impact of the transformation that happened in Avondale. Now, Avondale was a slightly smaller community than for Santa Cruz, so maybe the numbers are not 100%, but just to give you an idea, the crime went down from 776 cases per square mile to around 200. That's a quarter. Can you imagine if the crime in Santa Cruz could drop to a quarter? Wow, how much more peace there would be. The relationships in the community improved. People started to get along. There were much less gang fights. Avondale was known for gangs, and there were regular gang fights, but even the gang fights went down. And the big thing is that hope for a better future began to rise in the people. Rob says, "My life turned around the day I drove through Avondale. I couldn't unsee what I had seen, and no excuse could have made me just drive along on my merry way. My first thought was, I must do something to help others. Soon I began to discover that the change I wanted for them changed me. I learned that helping others helped me." Now, when I first read that story, I couldn't help but ask myself a question. What would have happened if Rob didn't take the right turn? Where would Avondale be today? Now, in Santa Cruz, we already have many organizations and businesses helping in different ways, as I've said before. There's a lot coming in, but we can't do this alone. I can't do what I'm doing in Santa Cruz alone. I'm just one person. We need the community of Santa Cruz to help us. We need the people of Santa Cruz to get involved. For what we want to do and the transformation, that dream that I spoke about right in the beginning, for that to happen, we don't just need 5 or 10 people. We need hundreds. For the 40-odd thousand people, I don't know how many you have here now, it's about 40,000 people, I think, in Santa Cruz. Not sure, but we need hundreds if we want to turn Santa Cruz around. Would you like to be a part of something that's a whole lot bigger than you? Something that will change lives, make a difference. We need your help. And today I'm looking for people of action. I'm looking for people who aren't just starters, but people who will continue, people who are finishers. Remember the starters and the finishers? We're looking for people who will be finishers. We're looking for people who are willing to just forget themselves for a little while, just a little while, and spend more time thinking of others. Are you ready to take the next step in transforming not just your life, but the life of your home and your family, the life of your neighborhood, and ultimately the community of Santa Cruz? I'm going to hand over to Mervyn. He's going to give you a bit of information on what you can do. Thank you, Mervyn.
Thank you, Delphina. Almost made me cry, but I stopped the tears before I could cry. But nevertheless, thank you very much. I was thinking, I was sitting there, thinking back, and I think I had to share this because it's important for people to know that a dream, if you dream, it can become a reality. One day I was sitting with my granny, and she's turning 79 this year, and she had this dream that one of her recipes was end up one day in a book. And I said, okay, but how are we going to do this? Where can we start planning this? And I was thinking over the years and thinking, and it was a few years, I think 4 or 5 years back, I was in tourism, or even if it's not 6 or 7 years. And there was a lady from Germany, and she came to South Africa visiting our guest house where I was working. And she was looking for the roaster cook recipe. And she came to me, and my boss that time, he said to me, listen, this lady's coming to South Africa and she wants to see someone who's doing the roaster cook. So I said to him, listen, let's take her to my granny. And he said to me, but you must inform your granny. I said, no, I'm not going to inform her because she's not going to do that. And the next morning she had breakfast and I said to her, let's take a walk to my house. So it was walking distance. We end up there, and first, before she ran into the bedroom, and I was like, no, you have to come and show this lady how you do it. She took some pictures and took the recipe down, everything. 2 years thereafter, she sent me a message on Facebook, and she said, listen, I'm planning on publishing this book, and the one recipe is going to be in there, it's your granny's recipe. And this year, January, she sent me a message and she said, listen, tell your granny the book is on the way to South Africa with a recipe and a picture in that. So that was one of her dreams coming true. So I want to say for the people in Visantekraal today, especially for the Visantekraal residents, never stop dreaming. It can become a reality. So that is one of the success stories that I know about dreams. But nevertheless, I'm not going to keep you any longer. For us to see Visantekraal, you hear that's South Africa. But we start in Visantekraal. For us to see Visantekraal transform, there is a need for us to grow. And if I say there is a need for us to grow, there is really a need for us to grow. You can ask all the people who's working in Visantekraal. There is really a need to grow. And for us to grow, we need personal development to get us started. That's where Delphina comes in. We need mentoring, we need positive influence, we need someone to help us to change on the inside so that the things on the outside will begin to change. If you have a dream of seeing Visantekraal transform, and you are willing to do something about it, it will have list. We will have the list on the tables here in front where you can leave your name, your cell phone number, and also your email. Delphina is working on a system to help you to develop and to grow. But if you are not able to actively involve, to see transformation, please, I'm asking you nicely, please don't put your name then there. We are looking for people who are really willing to be able to put action in their dreams so we can see Visantekraal transform. On that note, I want to thank everybody who did attend the event. The persons that I'll keep on saying to myself when I'm at the event or when I attend an event, you were supposed to be here. The others who are not here, yes, they did miss out, but they weren't supposed to be here. This is just the start of great things, to grow and to transform Visantekraal. And I thank you. Thank you very much. I think there is some music going to play now, but we're not going to dance. We're not going to dance. Of wil julle dance? So, but yeah, there is some time to mingle a bit, chat, learn to know each other, sharing some context. But please don't forget the list. And that's all for now. Thank you very much.